Welcome to Wisdom Storybooks. In this video, I will be reading Genesis chapters 41 through 50. Please like and subscribe if you find this content beneficial. Thank you. Genesis chapter 41. Now it happened at the end of 2 full years that Pharaoh had a dream, and look, he was standing by the Nile, and look, there came up out of the Nile 7 cows, sleek and fat, and they grazed among the reeds. And look, 7 other cows came up after them out of the Nile, miserable looking and thin, and stood by the other cows at the edge of the Nile. The miserable looking and thin cows ate up the 7 sleek and fat cows. Then Pharaoh woke up, and he slept and dreamed a second time. And look, 7 heads of grain came up on one stalk, healthy and good. Then look, 7 heads of grain, thin and blasted with the east wind, sprouted up after them. The thin heads swallowed up the 7 healthy and full heads. Then Pharaoh woke up, and look, it was a dream. It happened in the morning that his mind was troubled, so he summoned all of Egypt's magicians and wise men. And Pharaoh told them his dreams, but there was no one who could interpret them to Pharaoh. Then the chief cupbearer spoke to Pharaoh, saying, "I remember my faults today." Pharaoh was angry with his servants and put me in prison in the house of the captain of the guard, me and the chief baker. We had a dream on the same night, he and I, each having a dream with its own meaning. Now a young Hebrew was there with us, a servant of the captain of the guards, and we told him, and he interpreted our dreams to us. To each man he interpreted according to his own dream. And it happened just the way he interpreted them to us, so it was. I was restored to my office, and he was hanged. Then Pharaoh summoned Joseph, and they brought him quickly out of the pit. And he shaved himself, changed his clothes, and came in to Pharaoh. And Pharaoh said to Joseph, "I had a dream, but there is no one who can interpret it. I have heard it said about you that when you hear a dream you can interpret it." And Joseph answered Pharaoh, saying, "Apart from God, the welfare of Pharaoh will receive no answer." Then Pharaoh said to Joseph, "In my dream, look, I stood on the edge of the Nile, and look, there came up out of the river 7 cows, fat and sleek, and they grazed among the reeds. And look, 7 other cows came up after them, scrawny and very miserable looking and thin. I had never seen such bad-looking cows in all the land of Egypt. The thin and miserable looking cows ate up the first 7 fat cows. But when they had eaten them up, no one would have known that they had eaten them, for they were still as miserable looking as at the beginning. Then I woke up, and I fell asleep, and I saw in my dream, and look, 7 heads of grain growing on one stalk, full and good. And look, 7 heads of grain, withered, thin, and blasted with the east wind, sprouted up after them. And the 7 thin heads of grain swallowed up the 7 good heads of grain. And I told it to the magicians, but no one could tell me its meaning. Then Joseph said to Pharaoh, "The dreams of Pharaoh are one. God has told Pharaoh what he is about to do. The 7 good cows represent 7 years, and the 7 good heads of grain represent 7 years. The dreams are the same. And the 7 thin and miserable-looking cows that came up after them represent 7 years, and also the 7 empty heads of grain blasted with the east wind. They are 7 years of famine. It is just as I said to Pharaoh. God has shown Pharaoh what he is about to do. Look, 7 years of great abundance will come throughout all the land of Egypt. But after them 7 years of famine will come, and all the abundance will be forgotten in the land of Egypt. The famine will devastate the land, and the abundance will not be remembered in the land because of the famine that follows it, for it will be very severe. Now the dream was repeated to Pharaoh twice, because the matter has been fixed by God, and God will carry it out soon. Now therefore Pharaoh should look for a discerning and wise man, and give him authority over the land of Egypt. Pharaoh should do this, and should appoint overseers over the land, and they should take 1/5 of all the produce of the land of Egypt during the 7 years of abundance. They should gather all the food during these good years that are coming and store the grain under the authority of Pharaoh for food in the cities, and they should preserve it. That food will be a reserve for the land during the 7 years of famine that will come on the land of Egypt, so that the land will survive the famine. The proposal was good in the eyes of Pharaoh and in the eyes of all his servants. Pharaoh said to his servants, "Can we find such a one as this, a man in whom is the Spirit of God?" So Pharaoh said to Joseph, "Because God has shown you all of this, there is no one as discerning and wise as you. You will be in charge of my house, and according to your word will all my people be ruled. Only with regard to the throne will I be greater than you." Pharaoh said to Joseph, "Look, I have put you in charge over all the land of Egypt." Then Pharaoh took off his signet ring from his hand and put it on Joseph's hand, and clothed him in robes of fine linen, and put a gold chain around his neck. And he had him ride in the second chariot which he had, and they called out before him, "Bow the knee." So he put him in charge over the entire land of Egypt. Then Pharaoh said to Joseph, "I am Pharaoh, but without your permission no one will do anything or go anywhere in all the land of Egypt." Pharaoh called Joseph's name Zaphenath-Paaneah, and he gave him Asenath, the daughter of Potiphera, priest of On, as a wife. So Joseph went out through the land of Egypt. Joseph was 30 years old when he began to serve Pharaoh, king of Egypt. Joseph left the presence of Pharaoh and went throughout all the land of Egypt. During the 7 years of abundance, the land produced large harvests. And he collected all the food during the 7 years when there was abundance in the land of Egypt, and put the food in the cities. He placed in every city the food from the fields surrounding it. Joseph stored up grain in great abundance, like the sand of the sea, until he stopped measuring it, because it could not be measured. To Joseph were born 2 sons before the year of famine came, whom Asenath, the daughter of Potiphera, priest of On, bore to him. Joseph called the name of the firstborn Manasseh, "For God has made me forget all my trouble and all my father's household." And the name of the second he called Ephraim, "For God has made me fruitful in the land of my suffering." And the 7 years of abundance that occurred in the land of Egypt came to an end. Then the 7 years of famine began to come, just as Joseph had said. There was famine in all lands, but in all the land of Egypt there was food. When all the land of Egypt experienced the famine, the people cried to Pharaoh for food. Then Pharaoh said to all the Egyptians, "Go to Joseph. Whatever he says to you, do." So the famine was over all the surface of the land. Then Joseph opened all the storehouses of grain and sold to the Egyptians. and the famine was severe in the land of Egypt. And all the countries came to Egypt to Joseph to buy grain, because the famine was severe in all the earth. Genesis chapter 42. Now Jacob learned that there was grain in Egypt, so Jacob said to his sons, "Why do you look at one another?" He said, "Look, I have heard that there is grain in Egypt. Go down there and buy some for us from there, so that we may live and not die." So Joseph's 10 brothers went down to buy grain from Egypt. But Jacob did not send Joseph's brother Benjamin with his brothers, for he said, "Some harm might happen to him." So the sons of Israel went to buy grain among the other travelers, for the famine was in the land of Canaan. Now Joseph was the ruler over the country, and it was he who sold to all the people of the land. Joseph's brothers came and bowed themselves down to him with their faces to the ground. Joseph saw his brothers, and he recognized them, but he acted like he did not know them and spoke harshly with them. And he said to them, "Where do you come from?" And they said, "From the land of Canaan to buy food." So Joseph recognized his brothers, but they did not recognize him. Then Joseph remembered the dreams which he dreamed about them, and said to them, "You are spies. You have come to look for the vulnerabilities of the country." But they said to him, "No, my lord, but your servants have come to buy food. We are all sons of one man. We are honest men. Your servants are not spies." But he said to them, "No, but you have come to look for the vulnerabilities of the country." But they said, "We, your servants, are 12 brothers, the sons of one man in the land of Canaan. And look, the youngest is now with our father, and one is no more." But Joseph said to them, "It is as I said to you, saying, 'You are spies.' This is how you will be tested. By the life of Pharaoh, you will not leave from here until your youngest brother comes here. Send one of you and let him get your brother, and you will stay in prison, so that your words can be tested, whether there is truth in you. Or else, by the life of Pharaoh, surely you are spies." So he put all of them together in prison for 3 days. Then Joseph said to them the 3rd day, "Do what I say and live, for I fear God. If you are honest, then let one of your brothers remain confined in your prison. But you go and carry grain for the hunger of your households. But bring your youngest brother to me, so that your words will be verified and you won't die." To this they agreed. Then they said to one another, "We are certainly guilty concerning our brother, because we saw how distressed he was when he pleaded with us, and we wouldn't listen. Therefore this distress has come upon us." Reuben answered them, saying, "Did I not tell you, saying, 'Do not sin against the boy,' but you wouldn't listen? Therefore, look, now comes a reckoning for his blood." Now they did not know that Joseph could understand them, since he was speaking through an interpreter. He stepped away from them and wept. Then he returned to them and talked with them. Then he took Simeon from them and bound him in front of them. Then Joseph gave orders to fill their bags with grain, and to restore every man's silver into his sack, and to give them food for the journey. And it was done for them. They loaded their donkeys with their grain and departed from there. As one of them opened his sack to give his donkey food at the lodging place, he saw his silver. Look, it was in the mouth of his sack. He said to his brothers, "My silver has been returned. Look, it is in my sack." And they were dismayed, and they turned trembling to one another, saying, "What is this that God has done to us?" Then they returned to their father Jacob to the land of Canaan, and told him all that had happened to them, saying, "The man, the lord of the country, spoke harshly to us, and he put us in custody as spies of the country. But we said to him, 'We are honest men. We are not spies. We are 12 brothers, sons of our father. One is no more, and the youngest is now with our father in the land of Canaan. The man, the lord of the country, said to us, By this I will know that you are honest men. Leave one of your brothers with me, and take grain for the hunger of your households, and go your way. Bring your youngest brother to me. Then I will know that you are not spies, but that you are honest men. So I will deliver your brother to you, and you may travel in the land." Then it happened as they emptied their sacks that look, every man's bag of silver was in his sack. When they and their father saw their bags of silver, they were afraid. Then their father Jacob said to them, "You have deprived me of my children. Joseph is no more, Simeon is no more, and you want to take Benjamin away. All this has come against me." Reuben spoke to his father, saying, "Kill my 2 sons if I do not bring him to you. Put him in my care, and I will bring him back to you." But he said, "My son will not go down with you, for his brother is dead, and he alone is left. If harm should happen to him on the journey you are taking, then you will bring down my gray hairs with sorrow to Sheol." Genesis chapter 43. Now the famine was severe in the land. So it came about when they had eaten up the grain which they had brought out of Egypt, that their father said to them, "Go again, buy us a little more food." But Judah spoke to him, saying, "The man strictly warned us, saying, 'You may not see my face unless your brother is with you. If you'll send our brother with us, we'll go down and buy you food, but if you will not send him, we will not go down.' For the man said to us, 'You may not see my face unless your brother is with you.' Then Israel said, 'Why did you bring this trouble on me by telling the man that you had another brother?' They said, 'The man kept asking about ourselves and concerning our relatives, saying, "Is your father still alive? Do you have another brother?" So we just answered his questions. How were we to know that he would say, 'Bring your brother down'?" Then Judah said to his father Israel, "Send the boy with me, and we'll get up and go, so that we may live and not die, both we and you, and also our little ones. I will be collateral for him. You can hold me responsible for him. If I fail to bring him to you and set him before you, then let me bear the blame forever. For if we hadn't delayed, surely we would have returned a second time by now." Then their father Israel said to them, "If it must be so, then do this. Take some of the best fruits of the land in your bags and bring a gift for the man, a little balm, a little honey, spices and myrrh, pistachio, nuts and almonds. Take twice as much silver in your hand, and take back the silver that was returned in the mouth of your sacks. Perhaps it was an oversight. Take your brother also, and get up, go back to the man. And may El Shaddai grant you mercy before the man, that he may release to you your other brother and Benjamin. If I am deprived of my children, then I am deprived." The men took this gift, and they took twice as much silver with them and Benjamin. Then they got up and went down to Egypt, and presented themselves before Joseph. When Joseph saw Benjamin with them, he said to the servant of his house, "Bring the men into the house, and slaughter an animal and prepare it, for the men will eat with me at noon." The man did as Joseph had said, and the man brought the men to Joseph's house. But the men were afraid because they were brought to Joseph's house. And they said, "It is because of the silver that was returned in our sacks the first time that we are brought here, so that he may capture us and make us slaves and take our donkeys." So they came near to the man of Joseph's house, and they spoke to him at the entrance of the house, and said, "My lord, we indeed came down the first time to buy food. But when we came to the lodging place, we opened our sacks, and look, every man's silver was in the mouth of his sack, our silver in full weight. So we have brought it back in our hand. We have brought down additional silver with us to buy food. We do not know who put our silver in our sacks." He said, "Peace to you. Do not be afraid. Your God and the God of your father has given you treasure in your sacks. I received your silver." Then he brought Simeon out to them. The man brought the men into Joseph's house and gave them water, and they washed their feet. Then he gave their donkeys food. They prepared the gift for Joseph's arrival at noon, for they heard that they would eat a meal there. When Joseph came home, they prepared the gift they had brought with them into the house, and bowed themselves down to him with their face to the ground. Then he asked them of their welfare and said, "Is your father well, the old man of whom you spoke? Is he still alive?" And they answered, "Your servant, our father, is well. He is still alive." Then he said, "Blessed be that man by God." And they bowed and prostrated themselves. And he looked up and saw his brother Benjamin, his mother's son, and said, "Is this your youngest brother of whom you told me about?" Then he said, "God be gracious to you, my son." Then Joseph hurried out, for he was overcome with emotion because of his brother, and he was at the point of tears. So he entered into his chamber and wept there. Then he washed his face and came out. And he controlled himself and said, "Serve the food." They served him by himself and them by themselves, and the Egyptians who ate with him by themselves, because the Egyptians could not eat food with the Hebrews, for that is disgraceful to the Egyptians. And they sat before him, the firstborn according to his birthright, and the youngest according to his youth. And the men looked at each other with amazement. Then he gave portions to them in front of him, but Benjamin's portion was 5 times as much as any of theirs. So they drank until they all became drunk. Genesis chapter 44. Then he instructed the manager of his house, saying, "Fill the men's sacks with as much food as they can carry, and put each man's silver in the mouth of his sack. Put my cup, the silver cup, in the sack's mouth of the youngest, along with the silver for his grain." So he did according to the word that Joseph had told him. As soon as the morning dawned, the men were sent off along with their donkeys. When they were far from the city, Joseph said to his manager, "Up, go after the men, and when you overtake them, ask them, 'Why have you repaid evil for good? Why have you stolen my silver cup? Isn't it from this that my Lord drinks, and by which he indeed uses for divination? You have done evil in doing this." And he caught up with them and spoke these words to them. But they said to him, "Why does my Lord speak such words as these? Far be it from your servants that they should do such a thing. Look, the money that we found in the mouths of our sacks we brought back to you from the land of Canaan. How then could we steal silver or gold from your Lord's house? With whomever of your servants it is found, he must die, and we also will be my Lord's slaves." And he said, "Very well then, it will be as you say." The one with whom it is found will be my slave, but you will be blameless." Then they hurried, and each man lowered his sack to the ground, and each man opened his sack. And he searched, beginning with the oldest and ending at the youngest. And the cup was found in Benjamin's sack. Then they tore their clothes, and each man loaded his donkey and returned to the city. So Judah and his brothers came to Joseph's house, and he was still there, and they fell to the ground before him. And Joseph said to them, "What is this deed that you have done? Didn't you know that a man like me can indeed practice divination?" Then Judah said, "What can we say to my lord? What can we speak? And how can we clear ourselves? God has uncovered the guilt of your servants. Look, we are my lord's slaves, both we and the one in whose possession the cup was found." But he said, "Far be it from me that I should do so. The man in whose possession the cup was found, he will be my slave. But as for you, go up to your father in peace." Then Judah approached him and said, "My lord, please allow your servant to speak a word in the ears of my lord, and do not become angry with your servant, for you are like Pharaoh himself." My lord asked his servants, saying, "Do you have a father or a brother?" And we said to my lord, "We have a father, an old man, and a child born when he was old, a little one, and his brother is dead. And he is his mother's only child, and his father loves him." Then you said to your servants, "Bring him down to me, so that I can see him myself." And we said to my lord, "The boy can't leave his father, for if he should leave his father would die." But you said to your servants, "Unless your youngest brother comes down with you, you will not see my face again." And it happened when we came up to your servant my father, we told him the words of my lord. But our father said, "Go again, buy us a little food." We said, "We can't go down. If our youngest brother is with us, then we will go down, for we cannot see the man's face unless our youngest brother is with us." Then your servant my father said to us, "You know that my wife bore me 2 sons, and the one disappeared from me, and I said, 'Surely he is torn in pieces,' and I haven't seen him since. If you take this one also from me, and harm happens to him, you will bring down my gray hairs with sorrow to Sheol. So now, when I come to your servant my father, and the boy is not with us, since his life is bound up in the boy's life, it will happen when he sees that the boy is not with us, that he will die. Your servants will bring down the gray hairs of your servant our father with sorrow to Sheol. For your servant became collateral for the boy to my father, saying, 'If I do not bring him to you, then I will bear the blame to my father forever.' So now, please let your servant remain instead of the boy, a slave to my lord, and let the boy go up with his brothers. For how will I go up to my father if the boy isn't with me? I could not bear to see the misery that would come on my father." Genesis chapter 45. Then Joseph could no longer control himself before all those who stood before him, so he cried out, "Send everyone away from me." So no one stood with him while Joseph made himself known to his brothers. And he wept so loudly that the Egyptians heard it, and the house of Pharaoh heard about it. Then Joseph said to his brothers, "I am Joseph. Is my father still alive?" But his brothers couldn't answer him, for they were terrified at his presence. Then Joseph said to his brothers, "Come near to me, please." So they moved closer. And he said, "I am Joseph, your brother, whom you sold into Egypt." Now do not be upset or angry with yourselves that you sold me here, for God sent me before you to preserve life. For the famine has been in the land these 2 years, and there will be 5 more years in which there will be neither plowing nor harvest. God sent me ahead of you to preserve for you a remnant on the earth, and to save your lives by a great deliverance. So now it wasn't you who sent me here, but God. And he has made me a father to Pharaoh, lord of all his house, and ruler over all the land of Egypt. Now hurry and go up to my father and tell him, this is what your son Joseph says, God has made me lord of all Egypt. Come down to me, do not delay. You shall dwell in the land of Goshen, and you will be near to me, you, your children, and your children's children, and your flocks and your herds, and everything that you have. There I will provide for you, for there are still 5 years of famine to come, otherwise you and your household and all that you have would become destitute. Look, your eyes see, and the eyes of my brother Benjamin, that it is my mouth which is speaking to you. So you must tell my father about all my glory in Egypt and of all that you have seen. But you must hurry and bring my father down here. Then he threw his arms around his brother Benjamin's neck and wept, and Benjamin wept on his shoulder. And he kissed all his brothers and wept on them, and after that his brothers talked with him. Now the report of it was heard in Pharaoh's house, saying, Joseph's brothers have come. It pleased Pharaoh and his servants. And Pharaoh said to Joseph, tell your brothers, do this, load your animals and go. Enter the land of Canaan. Take your father and your families and come to me, and I will give you the best of the land of Egypt, and you will eat the richness of the land. Now you are commanded, do this. Take wagons from the land of Egypt for your little ones and for your wives, and bring your father and come. Also, do not worry about your possessions, for the best of all of the land of Egypt is yours. So the sons of Israel did that. And Joseph gave them wagons according to the commandment of Pharaoh, and gave them provisions for the journey. He gave to all of them, to each one, a change of clothing. But to Benjamin he gave 300 pieces of silver and 5 changes of clothing. To his father he sent the following: 10 donkeys loaded with the best things of Egypt, and 10 female donkeys loaded with grain and food and provision for his father on the journey. So he sent his brothers off, and as they departed he said to them, do not be fearful on the journey. So they went up out of Egypt and came into the land of Canaan to their father Jacob. And they told him, saying, Joseph is still alive, and he is ruler over all the land of Egypt. But he was unmoved, because he did not believe them. But when they told him all the words of Joseph, which he had said to them, and when he saw the wagons which Joseph had sent to transport him, the spirit of their father Jacob revived. Then Israel said, I'm convinced. My son Joseph is still alive. I will go and see him before I die. Genesis chapter 46. So Israel set out with all that he had and arrived at Beersheba, and offered sacrifices to the God of his father Isaac. And God spoke to Israel in a vision at night, and said, Jacob, Jacob, and he said, Here I am. He said, I am God, the God of your father. Do not be afraid to go down to Egypt, for there I will make you into a great nation. I will go down with you into Egypt, and I myself will surely bring you up again, and Joseph will close your eyes. Then Jacob rose up from Beersheba, And the sons of Israel carried their father Jacob and their little ones, and their wives on the wagons which Pharaoh had sent to carry him. So they took their livestock and their possessions which they had acquired in the land of Canaan, and arrived in Egypt, Jacob and all his descendants with him, his sons and his sons, sons with him, his daughters and his sons' daughters, and he brought all his descendants with him to Egypt. Now these are the names of the sons of Israel who went to Egypt, Jacob and his sons: Reuben, Jacob's firstborn. And the sons of Reuben, Hanok and Palu and Hezron and Carmi. And the sons of Simeon, Jemuel and Jamin and Ohad and Jachin and Zohar and Shaul, the son of a Canaanite woman. And the sons of Levi, Gershon, Kohath and Merari. And the sons of Judah, and Onan and Shelah and Perez and Zerah. But and Onan died in the land of Canaan. And the sons of Perez were Hezron and Hamuel. And the sons of Issachar, Tola and Pua and Jashub and Shimron. And the sons of Zebulun, Sered and Elon and Jaliel. These are the sons of Leah, whom she bore to Jacob in Paddan Aram, as well as his daughter Dinah. All the persons of his sons and his daughters were 33. And the sons of Gad, Zephon and Haggai and Shuni and Esban and Eri and Aerodai and Arilai. And the sons of Asher, Jimnah and Jishva and Jishvi and Beriah and Serah their sister. And the sons of Beriah, Heber and Malkiel. These are the sons of Zilpah, whom Laban gave to his daughter Leah, and these she bore to Jacob, 16 persons. The sons of Rachel, Jacob's wife, Joseph and Benjamin. To Joseph in the land of Egypt were born Manasseh and Ephraim, whom Asenath the daughter of Potipharah, priest of On, bore to him. And the sons of Benjamin, Bela and Becher and Ashbel, Jerah and Neumann, and Ahiram and Shuppim and Huppim and Ard. These are the sons of Rachel who were born to Jacob. All the persons were 14. And the sons of Dan, Shuham. And the sons of Naphtali, Jaziel and Guni and Jezer and Shillem. These are the sons of Bilhah, whom Laban gave to his daughter Rachel. And these she bore to Jacob. All the persons were 7. All the persons who came with Jacob into Egypt, who were his direct descendants, not including the wives of Jacob's sons, all the persons were 66. And the sons of Joseph who were born to him in Egypt were 2 persons. All the persons of the house of Jacob who came into Egypt were 70. And he sent Judah ahead of him to Joseph to accompany him to Goshen. Then they arrived in the land of Goshen. And Joseph prepared his chariot and went up to meet his father Israel in Goshen. And he presented himself to him, and he threw his arms around his neck and wept for a long time. Then Israel said to Joseph, "Now let me die, since I have seen your face, that you are still alive." Then Joseph said to his brothers and to his father's household, "I will go up and speak with Pharaoh and will tell him, 'My brothers and my father's household who were in the land of Canaan have come to me. The men are shepherds, for they have been keepers of livestock, and they have brought their flocks and their herds and all that they have. And it will come to pass, when Pharaoh summons you and says, "What is your occupation?" that you are to say, "Your servants have looked after livestock from our youth until now, both we and our fathers, in order that you may settle in the land of Goshen, since all shepherds are detestable to the Egyptians." Genesis chapter 47. Then Joseph went in and told Pharaoh and said, "My father and my brothers with their flocks, their herds, and all that they own have come from the land of Canaan. And look, they are in the land of Goshen." And from among his brothers he took 5 men and presented them before Pharaoh. Then Pharaoh said to his brothers, "What is your occupation?" And they said to Pharaoh, "Your servants are shepherds, both we and our fathers." And they said to Pharaoh, "We have come to sojourn in the land, for there is no pasture for your servants' flocks, for the famine is severe in the land of Canaan. So now, please let your servants live in the land of Goshen." Then Pharaoh spoke to Joseph, saying, "Your father and your brothers have come to you, and the land of Egypt is before you. Settle your father and your brothers in the best of the land. They may live in the land of Goshen. If you know any able men among them, then put them in charge of my livestock." Then Joseph brought in his father Jacob and presented him before Pharaoh, and Jacob blessed Pharaoh. And Pharaoh said to Jacob, "How many are the days of the years of your life?" So Jacob said to Pharaoh, "The days of the years of my sojourning are 130 years. Few and difficult have been the years of my life, and they have not attained to the days of the years of the life of my fathers in the days of their sojourning." Then Jacob blessed Pharaoh and went out from Pharaoh's presence. Joseph settled his father and his brothers and gave them property in the land of Egypt, in the best of the land, in the land of Ramesses, as Pharaoh had commanded. And Joseph provided food for his father, his brothers, and all of his father's household, according to the number of their dependents. Now there was no food in all the land, for the famine was very severe, so that the land of Egypt and the land of Canaan grew weak because of the famine. Joseph gathered up all of the money to be found in the land of Egypt and in the land of Canaan, for the grain they were purchasing. And Joseph brought the money into Pharaoh's treasury. And when the money was all spent in the land of Egypt and in the land of Canaan, all the Egyptians came to Joseph and said, "Give us food, for why should we die in your presence? For our money is gone." Then Joseph said, "Give me your livestock, and I will give you food for your livestock if your silver is gone." So they brought their livestock to Joseph, and Joseph gave them food in exchange for the horses, and for the flocks, and for the cattle, and for the donkeys. And he fed them with food in exchange for all their livestock for that year. When that year was over, they came to him the next year and said to him, "We will not hide from my lord that all our silver is spent, and that the herds of livestock belong to my lord. There is nothing left, as my lord can see, except our bodies and our lands. Why should we die before your eyes, both we and our land? Buy us and our land in exchange for food, and we and our land will be servants to Pharaoh. Give us seed so that we may live and not die, and that the land won't become desolate." So Joseph bought all the land of Egypt for Pharaoh, because every Egyptian sold his field, since the famine was severe on them. So the land became Pharaoh's. And as for the people, he subjugated them as slaves from one end of the border of Egypt to the other end of it. Only he did not buy the land of the priests, for the priests had an allotment from Pharaoh, and they lived off their allotment which Pharaoh gave them. Therefore they did not have to sell their land. Then Joseph said to the people, "Look, I have bought you and your land today for Pharaoh. Look, Here is seed for you, so you can plant the seed in the land. And it will come to pass at the harvests that you must give a fifth to Pharaoh, and 4/5 will be yours for seed for the field, and for your food, and for those of your households, and as food for your little ones. Then they said, You have saved our lives. Let us find favor in the sight of my Lord, and we will be Pharaoh's slaves. So Joseph made it a statute still in effect for the land of Egypt that a fifth must go to Pharaoh. Only the land of the priests alone did not become Pharaoh's. So Israel lived in the land of Egypt, in the land of Goshen. And they acquired property in it, and were fertile, and became numerous. And Jacob lived in the land of Egypt 17 years. So the days of Jacob, the years of his life, were 147 years. And the time approached for Israel to die, so he summoned his son Joseph and said to him, If now I have found favor in your sight, please put your hand under my thigh and deal kindly and truly with me. Please do not bury me in Egypt, but when I lie down with my fathers, you must carry me out of Egypt and bury me in their burial place. And he said, I will do what you have asked. Then he said, Take an oath to me, and he took an oath to him. Then Israel bowed over the top of his staff. Genesis chapter 48. And it came about after these things that someone said to Joseph, Look, your father is sick. And taking with him his 2 sons, Manasseh and Ephraim, he went to Jacob. And someone reported to Jacob and said, Look, your son Joseph has come to you. Then Israel strengthened himself and sat up in the bed. And Jacob said to Joseph, El Shaddai appeared to me at Luz in the land of Canaan and blessed me, and said to me, Look, I will make you fruitful and multiply you, and I will make of you a company of peoples, and will give this land to your descendants after you as an everlasting possession. And now your 2 sons, who were born to you in the land of Egypt before I came to you into Egypt, are mine. Ephraim and Manasseh will be mine, as Reuben and Simeon are, and your offspring born to you after them will be yours. But in their inheritance they are to be called after the names of their brothers. But as for me, when I came from Paddan Aram, Rachel died in my sorrow in the land of Canaan on the journey, when there was still some distance to go to Ephrath. And I buried her there on the way to Ephrath, that is Bethlehem. Then Israel saw Joseph's sons and said, Who are these? And Joseph said to his father, They are my sons, whom God has given me here. And he said, Please bring them to me so that I can bless them. Now the eyes of Israel were failing because of his age, so that he couldn't see. Then he brought them near to him, and he kissed them and embraced them. And Israel said to Joseph, I did not expect to see your face, but look, God has let me see your offspring as well. Then Joseph brought them out from between his knees, and he bowed himself with his face to the ground. And Joseph took them both, Ephraim in his right hand toward Israel's left hand, and Manasseh in his left hand toward Israel's right hand, and brought them near to him. And Israel stretched out his right hand and placed it on Ephraim's head, who was the younger, and his left hand on Manasseh's head, crossing his hands, although Manasseh was the firstborn. Then he blessed Joseph and said, The God before whom my fathers Abraham walked, the God who has been my shepherd all my life to this day, the angel who has redeemed me from all evil, bless the boys. And may my name be carried on in them, and the names of my fathers Abraham and Isaac, and may they grow into a multitude upon the earth." When Joseph saw that his father placed his right hand on the head of Ephraim, it displeased him, and he grasped his father's hand to move it from Ephraim's head to Manasseh's head. And Joseph said to his father, "Not so, my father, for this one is the firstborn. Put your right hand on his head." But his father refused and said, "I know, my son, I know. He also will become a people, and he also will be great. However, his younger brother will be greater than he, and his descendants will become a multitude of nations." So he blessed them that day, saying, "By you Israel will pronounce blessing, saying, God make you as Ephraim and as Manasseh." Thus he put Ephraim before Manasseh. Then Israel said to Joseph, "Look, I am about to die, but God will be with you, and God will bring you back from this land to the land of your fathers. Moreover, I give to you one portion more than your brothers, which I took out of the hand of the Amorites with my sword and with my bow." Genesis chapter 49. Then Jacob summoned his sons and said, "Gather yourselves together so that I may tell you what will happen to you in the days to come. Assemble yourselves and hear, you sons of Jacob. Listen to Israel, your father. Reuben, you are my firstborn, my strength, and the firstfruits of my virility, preeminent in dignity and preeminent in power. Uncontrolled as the waters, you will not excel, because you went up to your father's bed, you went up and defiled my couch. Simeon and Levi are brothers. Their swords are weapons of violence. May I never enter their council. May my honor never be joined with their assembly. For in their anger they killed men, and for pleasure they hamstrung oxen. Cursed be their anger, for it has been fierce, and their fury, for it was cruel. I will divide them in Jacob and scatter them in Israel. Judah, your brothers will praise you. Your hand will be on the neck of your enemies. Your father's sons will bow down before you. Judah is a lion's cub. From the prey, my son, you rise up. Like a lion he crouches and lies down as a lioness. Who will rouse him up? The scepter will not depart from Judah, nor the ruler's staff from between his feet, until he comes to whom it belongs. And it is he whom the peoples will obey, binding his foal to the vine and his donkey's colt to the choice vine. He will wash his garments in wine and his robes in the blood of grapes. His eyes will be darker than wine and his teeth whiter than milk. Zebulun will dwell at the seashore, and he will be a harbor for ships, and his border will be at Sidon. Issachar is a strong donkey lying down between the saddlebags. When he sees a good resting place, that the land is pleasant, he will bend his back to the burden and become a slave doing forced labor. Dan will judge his people as one of the tribes of Israel. Dan will be a serpent on the road, a viper by the path, that bites the horse's heels so that his rider falls backward. I wait for your salvation, God. Gad will be attacked by raiders, but he will raid at their heels. Asher's food will be rich, and he will provide royal delicacies. Naphtali is a doe set free that bears beautiful fawns. Joseph is a fruitful son by a spring. His branches run over a wall. The archers will attack him with bitterness and shoot at him and harass him. Yet his bow will remain steady, and his arms will be made agile by the hands of the mighty one of Jacob. By the name of the shepherd, the rock of Israel, by the God of your father, who will help you, and El Shaddai, who will bless you with blessings of the sky above, blessings of the deep that lies below, and blessings of the breasts and of the womb. The blessings of your father are greater than the blessings of the ancient mountains and the bounty of the everlasting hills. They will be on the head of Joseph and on the brow of the prince among his brothers. Benjamin is a ravenous wolf. In the morning he will devour the prey, and at evening he will divide the plunder. All these are the 12 tribes of Israel, and this is what their father said to them when he blessed them. He blessed each one with his own individual blessing. Then he instructed them and said to them, I am to be gathered to my people. Bury me with my fathers in the cave that is in the field of Ephron the Hethite, in the cave that is in the field of Machpelah, which is near Mamre in the land of Canaan, which Abraham bought along with the field from Ephron the Hethite as a burial place. There they buried Abraham and his wife Sarah. There they buried Isaac and his wife Rebekah, and there I buried Leah. The field and the cave that is in it were purchased from the sons of Heth. When Jacob finished instructing his sons, he drew his legs up into the bed and breathed his last, and was gathered to his people. Genesis chapter 50. Then Joseph hugged his father's face and wept over him and kissed him. Joseph commanded his servants, the physicians, to embalm his father. So the physicians embalmed Israel. 40 days were required for it, for that is how many the days it takes for embalming. The Egyptians mourned for him for 70 days. When the days for mourning for him had passed, Joseph spoke to the house of Pharaoh, saying, If now I have found favor in your sight, please speak in the ears of Pharaoh, saying, My father made me take an oath, saying, Look, I am dying. Bury me in the tomb that I dug for myself in the land of Canaan. Now therefore, please let me go up and bury my father, and I will return again. And Pharaoh said, Go up and bury your father in keeping with your oath. So Joseph went up to bury his father, and all the officials of Pharaoh went up with him, the elders of his household, and all the elders of the land of Egypt, all the household of Joseph, his brothers and his father's household. Only their little ones and their flocks and their herds they left in the land of Goshen. And there went up with him both chariots and horsemen. It was a very large company. Then they came to the threshing floor of QA'd, which is across the Jordan, and they mourned there with a great and very bitter lamentation. And he observed 7 days of mourning for his father. When the inhabitants of the land, the Canaanites, saw the mourning at the threshing floor of QA'd, they said, This is a deep mourning by the Egyptians. Therefore its name was called Abel Mizraim, which is across the Jordan. So his sons did to him just as he commanded them. For his sons carried him into the land of Canaan and buried him in the cave of the field of Machpelah near Mamre, which Abraham bought along with the field as a burial site from Ephron the Hethite. Then after he had buried his father, Joseph returned to Egypt, he and his brothers and all that went up with him to bury his father. When Joseph's brothers saw that their father was dead, they said, It may be that Joseph will hate us and will pay us back in full for all of the evil that we did to him. So they sent a message to Joseph, saying, Your father gave this command before he died, saying, Thus you are to tell Joseph, Now please forgive the transgression of your brothers and their sin, because they did evil to you. And now please forgive the transgression of the servants of the God of your father." And Joseph wept when they spoke to him. Then his brothers also went and fell down in front of him, and they said, "Look, we are your slaves." But Joseph said to them, "Do not be afraid, for am I in the place of God? As for you, you meant evil against me, but God turned it into good in order to bring about this present result, to save the lives of many people. So therefore, do not be afraid. I will provide for you and your little ones." And he consoled them and spoke kindly to them. So Joseph lived in Egypt, he and his father's household. And Joseph lived 110 years. Joseph saw Ephraim's descendants to the third generation. The children also of Machir, the son of Manasseh, were counted as Joseph's own. And Joseph said to his brothers, "I am about to die, but God will surely take care of you and bring you up out of this land to the land which he promised to Abraham, to Isaac, and to Jacob." Then Joseph made the sons of Israel take an oath, saying, "God will surely take care of you. Then you must carry up my bones from here." So Joseph died, being 110 years old, and they embalmed him and placed him in a coffin in Egypt.